This is our 6th annual Penguin Palooza event with SANCCOB and CapeNature, and our 2nd one where we've had to do it online due to COVID. We are hopeful that next year we can do this wonderful event in person and have everyone here watching the birds being released into the wild. But the silver lining is that doing it virtually, we reach thousands of people, which is awesome. And together with CapeNature, we have achieved such fantastic outcomes in seabird conservation, as well as with our other projects, and we are so grateful for this amazing partnership.
Stony Point colony was established in 1982. This is when the first pair of breeding pairs arrived on a source from Dyer Island. Stony Point is one of the largest successful breeding land-based colonies in the world. Roughly there's about 3,600 birds at Stony Point. A recent census revealed that we have 1,623 breeding pairs, which amounts to 16% of the entire South African population of African penguins.
The main purpose of the Penguin Palooza is to highlight the collaboration between CapeNature and SANCCOB. And the main aim of our collaboration is the conservation and protection of the African penguin and other bird species. Partnerships is important because, with partnerships you actually draw on the strengths of both organizations. And it's there for knowledge sharing, it's there for the sharing of resources. It also gives more in-depth understanding with regards to conservation. There's also, if I can use avian flu for example, there's faster reaction time to a pandemic like avian flu.
The African penguin is in crisis. It's listed as endangered, and with the population every year continuing to decline, it's showing no signs of improvement. And because it's in such a precarious state, partnerships like that we have with CapeNature are absolutely critical. In order to reverse this decline and give the species some chance of recovery, every single intervention is required. We have enormous respect for the work and the responsibility that organizations like CapeNature have in the protection of the species. And it's a great honor for us to be able to partner with them and support CapeNature in the work that they do. And one of the ways that SANCCOB does this is through the ranger project that we have. Through our seabird rangers, we're able to provide additional capacity, and they are at the forefront of looking out for oiled, injured penguins, basically any penguin that is showing sign of distress that they can then rescue, bring into the center for raising, and then ultimately release. Every single bird, penguin that goes through SANCCOB is inserted with a transponder, so it's just under the surface of the skin. And these transponders have a unique individual number, and this enables us to monitor the effectiveness of our interventions. So when these birds are released, we are able to track how successful they are in recruiting back into the colony. And our data has been able to show that birds that are sent to SANCCOB and that are released do successfully breed again. And this is critically important to the recovery of the population. And this is important for the long-term recovery of the species, because these birds are able to actively breed again, which then promotes the population recovery. Some of the threats that the African penguin is facing are whaling events, and this takes place when containers that have been lost at sea, they shift during heavy currents, and they release oil into the water column, and the birds swim through them, becoming oil. But more recently, which is of grave concern to us, is the ship-to-ship bunkering. There's been a few licenses that have been granted, and in the short space of time that these licenses have been granted, we've had 3 oil spills that have oiled African penguins as well as Cape gannets. One of the key drivers of this decline, or one of the key threats that the penguin is facing right now, is a reduced availability of food. And this is as a result of a number of factors, one of which is a reduced stock. At the moment, sardine, which is one of the key prey resources of the African penguin, is considered depleted, and it is at one of its lowest levels on record. And as a result of a low food source, this also puts extra competition for this resource on other predator species, as well as the commercial small pelagic fishery. During breeding, African penguins can only go a certain distance in order to obtain enough food. And so increased competition around the colonies does place an additional burden on these birds to provide enough food for themselves, but also to get enough food for their chicks.